In this video, I take on Mark Wallace's Portrait Challenge.
Adorama TV presents Take and Make Great Photography with Gavin Hoey.
Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that has everything for us photographers. And today, well, I'm joined in my studio by Mr. Mark Wallace,
Hello.
no less. So he's been on his world travels, he thought he'd stop by somewhere important like my studio.
And I needed a place to sleep.
So what we're going to do is a little portrait challenge. Now, if you missed the first video in this series, this is what happened.
And we have decided that we are going to use the same model.
Yes.
The exact same equipment.
Yes.
And we're going to have a time limit of about, I think it's 20 minutes.
Should be ample.
And so I'm going to shoot the model with the gear, and Gavin's not going to see what I'm doing. And then you're going to do the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to see what you're doing.
No.
And then we're going to compare our results.
So I've been joined by Brian. I've got the same model that Mark had. I've got the same equipment that Mark had as well, but hopefully my picture will be a little bit different. So my first plan is to get Brian towards the same sort of height that I am. Brian, did you want to stand up just for a second? As you can see, Brian is well over 8 feet tall. Thereabouts. Sit down for me. So getting him sat down immediately brings him down to my eye height. That's a good thing. Equipment-wise, I don't need all this. I'm going to go really simple. So I'm going to get rid of the reflector. Let's just pop that out of the way. And I'm just going to shoot with the softbox. So I've got an idea in my head. I'm going to put the softbox way over to the side, right at the back, like that. So we're going to kind of rear illuminate Brian to a degree, have a nice profile shot. But for a profile shot, Brian, I'm going to need you facing this way. Fantastic. Okay, now we need to figure out the light. So I'll get my flash meter, and I'm going to get the little dome on the flash meter and point it at the light. Because it's coming in at an extreme angle, I need to meter for the light that's falling on Brian. That's giving me f5.6. I'd like f8. I'll increase the flash by 1 stop. That's 3 clicks on the remote, and I'm on f8. So I've got the exposure that I want. Let's see if that actually works. Let's take a picture. Here we go. So that's okay, but there's a little bit of contamination of light on the background. So if I get the softbox and I just feather it away from the background, that should stop it being quite as bright. Let's take the same shot. And that's great. That gives me a lovely light on Brian's face. And in itself, that's not a bad little shot. But I like to do pictures where I've got the model doing something rather than just sat there. So let's have a little rummage around. I've got a book. So we've got this lovely, rather tatty old dictionary, which is just perfect for adding a sense of interest into the shot. Not that you're not interesting enough, Brian, of course you are indeed, but that just adds an extra element. So let's get that into the shot. Let's have a little look at that. Okay, that's pretty good. Can you hold it just a little bit higher? Lovely. And that works rather well, but I've got this crazy idea. I don't know if this is going to work, but we've got a little bit of baby powder, talcum powder, and I'm going to put this in the book, and I'm going to get Brian to slam the book shut. Hopefully, this will work. Let's just pop this in here. There we go. I don't know how much to put in. That should do. Let's try that. Okay, now, there's going to be one shot at this, so let's give this a whirl. Set everything up first. I'll take a test shot. If you're doing this sort of picture where there's a one-hit wonder, you need to do a test shot just to make sure everything's going to work okay. Yep, I'm happy with the lighting. Okay, Brian, on 3, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, fantastic. That's superb. And that works really well. We got some aggression from Brian's face. We got a cloud, a big puff of that powder going absolutely everywhere. And that's going to look a fantastic shot, particularly as a lovely contrasty black and white image. So when Mark set me the 20-minute time limit, he didn't say whether that should include post-processing. For me, I think it should. That should be part of the challenge to get the shot done from beginning to end in the time scale allowed. So I'm going to do a bit of processing, but not too much. And because I really only shot one final picture, that's going to be the one I edit. Let's have a look. So this looks fine. I love the effect. It was an idea I had in my head for a while, and I'm glad I managed to actually get around to doing it. But there are a few things I want to change. Now I know I'm going to do black and white in this, so let's jump over to the HSL grayscale, convert it to black and white, because with portraits in black and white, I like to take the oranges slider and increase the oranges, because that tends to be skin tones in the image, and we'll make them nice and bright. Now let's go back over to the main basic panel. I know I want to put some clarity. Now normally I actually take clarity away for portraits, that's quite flattering, but in this case, watch what happens to that powder as I increase the clarity. It really stands out well, and Brian's face can take the extra clarity, I think. Now the powder, as it flies out towards the light, is getting brighter, and that makes sense. As you go closer towards a light source, so the brightness of your subject's going to increase. And I really had no control. I actually had no idea where it was going to go, whether it was going to go all over Brian or all over me, or in this case, mostly over the light. But we can deal with that. Let's get a graduated filter, and I'll just reduce the exposure a little bit, and the highlights, let's bring those down as well. And we'll just drag a nice little graduated filter just like that. That looks pretty good. I reckon maybe one along the bottom. We just pull the exposure down there because I want that to be a little darker, and maybe a hint of one at the top without the heavy exposure. What I'm trying to do is just get the book and Brian's face to be the brightest two parts in this shot. I can even pull in one behind just so the back of his neck isn't quite so bright. Okay, let's have a look, see how we're doing. Now with that adjustment, that's had a bit of a negative effect on my histogram. I just need to balance everything up by just pushing the whites a little bit more contrast. Yeah, there we go, that looks great. And I reckon that's my shot completed, well underneath the 20-minute time limit.
Wow, that is a spectacular image, Gavin. Now, the thing I love about it is it's got some action, and it's got the contrast, and it's got the angles, and it's got all the stuff. Yeah. Mine was sort of, you know, it's really laid back, and you brought sort of this punch to it. So
well, that's the idea, isn't it? When you get two different photographers, you get two completely different ideas.
Absolutely.
Two very different ways. I had the home advantage, to be fair. At least I knew my equipment, I knew my background. I've worked with Brian before, and that really does count. So you can't beat having a bit of knowledge of your gear and knowledge of your surroundings. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was great fun to do. Okay, we've got to thank Brian, of course. Brian, come on in here. So Brian has been a brilliant model throughout this. He's put up with the two of us, which is really asking quite a lot for anybody, to be fair. So thank you very much for coming along. Thank you very much for watching. And don't forget, if you want to see more videos from me and Mark and the other amazing presenters here on Adorama TV, you've got to click on the subscribe button. I'm Gavin Hoey. That's Mark Wallace. Thanks for watching.
Do you want great looking prints at low cost? Be sure to visit our easy-to-use online printing service. Adorama Pix has professionals who treat your images with the utmost care that you can count on. For a quick turnaround on photos, cards, or albums, use AdoramaPix.com.